वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकधामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवशरी गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणम्। हरे कृष्ण। It's a great fortune and honor for me to go and stay a couple of days with the instructing spiritual master. Felt so happy. It is so revealing to the heart that Krishna consciousness can be practiced only through loving devotionals, through loving relationships with exalted Vaishnavas, pure devotees who have nothing else in this world, simply want to please Srila Prabhupada, simply want to please their spiritual master. So, associating with him and the devotees at the Dham is very revealing to the heart. Yesterday was a perfect discussion which we began that how the Guru Parampara is very prominent in one's life. Because we were discussing that example, we'll begin through that example and we will see how the pure devotees they actually bring revelation in the heart. Bhakto sime sakachete rahasyam etam uttamam, which we discussed this, we read this yesterday, where the Lord is telling very clearly that, oh dear Arjuna, I'm telling you this truth because you are my devotee. Not just that, you are my friend. Through that friend, what is that? A relationship is there. A divine, loving relationship is there among themselves. And through that relationship, what is manifesting is transformation of the heart. Because if that relationship is not there, Arjuna wouldn't have approached the Lord. Please understand. Likewise, similarly, a sadhaka should have a divine relationship in one's life. Because through that relationship, what is happening is whatever insecurities, inabilities, problems in the heart, misplacing one's consciousness, being lost in this material world, they they all are shattered. They're like shattered, just like Balaram has this gada, he has this club. Through this club, he will shatter all those anarthas. But for that, one would require very divine association, which is actually given by the Lord. So the Lord is so merciful, he gives wonderful association. The problem is the sadhaka should always hanker for that. When the sadhaka is always hankering, that is the quality, that is actually the requirement from the sadhaka side. On the sadhaka side, what should be the quality and the requirement? He should always hanker for that association. The more he anchors, the more he gets it. Because Krishna is seeing, Krishna sitting in the heart as Paramatma, he would actually watch that. Because he's so loving father. Uh, he never intervenes in the free will of the jiva. On the other side, he is always there to fulfill the desires of the jiva. For example, if the child, mother gives the independence or father gives the independence to the child, and at the same time, if the child really hankers for something, that is a responsibility of the mother and father to fulfill that. Just like mother father will give the free will to the son is using that free will in a good way, in a better way. He's selecting right choices as per the direction of the parents. I'm giving an example so that we can understand this. I remember my spiritual master giving these very beautiful examples through so that this truth is going or dissipating, is going through all the anarthas and then sitting in the heart. So the child is actually using that free will in the right direction. So then what happens? After that, child is desiring something. Please understand here. The child is not desiring, the child doesn't desire until he actually uses his free will in the right direction. Please understand. The child can desire so many things, but the father or the parents will be pleased when the child is using the free will in correct direction and then desiring. For example, whatever the parents are telling, the child is actually following that. And then after that, when the child is desiring something, the parents will be very joyful doing it. For example, if the child is very adamant and still he is desiring, which is not good for him. He doesn't know, the child doesn't know, but the parents know. One thing is, child is very adamant, and then after that, after adamant nature of the child, he's desiring something which is not good for him. The parents know, but he's continuously asking the same thing. Somehow, parents would give it because, he cannot stay with that. Likewise, dear devotees, it is so important that what we are desiring, what we are aspiring, what we really want from us to us from the Lord. When those desires, when the jiva uses the free will correctly, dear devotees, and then aspires for that consciousness, then the Lord fulfills it. This is exactly what happened in the life of Arjuna. Please understand, Arjuna is a very exalted personality. And then this is exactly what Srila Prabhupada wants us to perform, want us to do in our life. And this cannot be done just like that. This cannot be, the moment I hear this, cannot put it in action. I need to have a base for that. Please understand here. And this is where Guru Parampara comes. Now, why am I telling this is, the reason and the logic to establish how prominent this Guru Parampara is, and to when we really understand that, that is when we will know the absolute truth. Because that is a key. The more we absorb, so I'm going to reiterate this again so that we understand this in a better way. For example, the child is very clear and then he's following and he's using the choices in the right way. Everything is done in the right way. And then he has a desire and then he's expressing that desire again and again. Then what parents would do? They would fulfill that. Because he's not like a rebellious child, but rather is a child who is very submissive. And this is the quality of Arjuna, which we will actually see in chapter 1. Now, why Srila Prabhupada? We discussed this yesterday. I mean, we read this yesterday. In the introduction, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning one should actually learn the principles of the Gita just like how Arjuna learned. After hearing the Gita, Arjuna was not rebellious. Rather, he accepted everything, the words of the Lord. That means, after reading Gita, we should fully accept the principles of the Lord. But for this acceptance, dear devotees, there are different levels of devotees. There are different levels of practitioners. One level of practitioner is what? He would hear, he would understand, he would apply the truth, get the reflection, get the realizations, and then transform his heart, and then move forward, and then go back to God. This is first can. And not everyone will be in this category. The next category is the person, the spiritual master, the pure devotee. What they do is they come into our life, and then what they do is they extend themselves. Please understand this. What are they doing? They are extending themselves. When they extend themselves, what happens is through that extension, what they extend is they extend a relation. So when the sadhaka understands the truth on the platform of the relation, dear devotees, what is this kind of relation? What is this relationship? Is this is a relationship exactly which Krishna is offering to Arjuna. This is a relationship exactly Srila Prabhupada offered to all his disciples. Now that through that relationship, what is happening is, even though the sadhaka has inebrities in his consciousness, inebrities, is not in the pure state, then what is happening is through the relationship, he is opening up his heart. Through that opening up through that opening up of the heart, what is manifesting is slowly, he without his interventions, the following of the principles are done naturally. Because why is it? Because how is that happening? Because he really wants to please that person who is speaking to him, who is extending himself by developing that relationship. Through that, what is happening? Who is happy through that? Srila Prabhupada is happy. And then this is called as, so this is called as, this is called as a disciplic succession, which comes through the chain, right from Brahmaji. Actually, if you actually closely observe this, Brahmaji, after getting that instruction, what happened is, he is asking the Lord, oh my dear Lord, now you have given me everything. Now you have given the intelligence, and then through this intelligence, what is happening is, I received this Shakti, this empowerment, which Krishna empowered Brahmaji. And then through that empowerment, what is happening? He is doing the creation. And then through that empowerment, what is also happening is he is the epitome, he is a representative of the disciplic succession. First representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmaji. So through that first representative, when he speaks Bhagavatam or the glories of the Lord. What is that glories of the Lord? That glories of the Lord is actually the establishment of the disciplic succession. Now this personality, after establishing the disciplic succession, after actually explaining the glories of the Lord, the same person is actually going to the Lord and taking the shelter and telling that, oh my dear Lord, now you have given me all this energy, you have given me all this empowerment, and then through this empowerment I'm doing this. And then after this, my dear Lord, I might feel that I am doing this. Please understand. Somehow, my dear Lord, a day I will feel that I am doing this. Somehow, my dear Lord, please protect me from this falsification. I don't want to fall prey to the material nature of this world. That means just see, he knows everything, he understands everything, how this creation is working, how the material nature is working, how the material nature pull the sadhaka into the material consciousness. And then he's telling to the Lord that, my dear Lord, please protect me so that I don't fall prey to this material nature through falsification. What is that falsification? That I am doing this. Now, this is a qualification to actually establish the truth as is. If you actually see through the life of Srila Prabhupada, through the life of exalted Vaishnavas, pure souls, it's a very clear indication that they never proclaim that this is coming through me. That is a beauty. Krishna, this is a beauty, this is epitome, this is actually the garland which a sadhaka puts to the Lord from his side. What is a garland? The garland of acceptance that, oh, my dear Lord, this is not coming from me, this is coming from my superior, this is coming from my spiritual master, this is coming from you, my dear Lord. I'm not the source of that. It is not I am speaking, my dear Lord, it is you who is speaking through me. This is what Brahmaji conveyed to Narada Muni also, because Narada Muni asked, oh, my dear father, I see you meditating. I thought you are the supreme, but I see you meditating. Can you please elaborate on this? Then he accepted through utmost humility and honesty in his consciousness. Brahmaji was expressing to Narada Muni that, no, my dear son, you see me creating all of this, but I'm not the source. Govinda. Govinda, he is the source. Krishna is the epitome of everyone. It's no Devi Devata. It's only he. He is the master. ब्रह्मांडे भ्रमिते कौन भाग्यवान जी गुरु कृष्ण प्रसाद पाए भक्तिलता he is I am not and this is the qualification dear devotees and a sadhaka like us what we need to have is we need to have this quality of what this quality of honesty if we are practicing today it is actually a blessing of them it is not we who we are practicing this process of Krishna consciousness it is through their blessings. It is through them only. They gave this access only. Today in the morning, was discussing with the spiritual master during the discussion. I was sharing that, oh, surrender. Surrender is a very joyful process. Surrender comes through that deep association, deep relationship. Because you are that surrendered soul, and all of us, we are getting benefited by submitting ourselves to you. And then the moment I spoke that, he immediately said, I'm not surrendered. I should come to the plane of surrender. This is a genuinity in the heart. This is because there is no parameter for surrender. The surrender can go so deep. Externally, one might give up his job, but the surrender in the heart is very deep. It's very deep. We cannot understand, we cannot fathom. Just like Brahmaji here is expressing, he's telling that, oh, my dear Lord, I might fall prey to this material nature. See his consciousness. Even though he knows everything. But see the consciousness of Hiranyakashipu on the other side. Now Hiranyakashipu knows everything, but he's telling he wants to become the controller. This is quite opposite. Complete opposite. One side Brahmaji is worried so that the false ego might trouble. On the other side, Hiranyakashipu is not worried, but rather he's fanning the false ego, stating that he wants to become the controller. Dear devotees, you know what is the problem of everything in this world? Everyone here in this world wants to be the controllers. Everyone. Practitioners, non-practitioners, Krishna conscious devotees, non-Krishna conscious, whoever is not practicing, materialistic people, everyone exists this. Unless and until he develops that right consciousness and the right association, knowing or understanding or really perceiving that yes, this center attitude is the greatest problem in my life. Unless and until the sadhaka comes to that plane, will never understand what this Krishna consciousness is. It cannot become central. Spiritual master is the center. Our acharyas are the center. Krishna is the center. Now that's how this disciplic succession was being established. Every acharya in the chain of this disciplic succession, what is a heart and heart consciousness? Now, how are they presenting the truth? That is the most important. Because if you actually see, imam vivasvate yogam proktamam aham avyam evam parampara praptam imam rajarsaya vidu yoga nashta parantapa. This yoga, this disciplic succession was broken. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, oh, my dear Arjuna, this disciplic succession is broken. Now I am coming to re-establish this. Now, what is it coming and re-establishing, and then how do we perceive that 5,000 years ago what Krishna has spoken and then what Srila Prabhupada and his pure followers are giving us? How is that? How is both same? You should get that question. How is that Krishna, what he presented and what Srila Prabhupada and his followers are giving us is the same thing? That is where this disciplic succession comes. What is this disciplic succession? Yesterday, I started that example, but immediately I was being called by my spiritual master that immediately I had to run. So, what was that over there, dear devotees? Is started that example. For example, one person comes and then tells in the other person some small sentence. Okay. And then that small sentence, there are 30 people in the chain. Okay. That same small sentence, the person who has heard first, he has to convey it to the second person. No, he would convey that. Now the second person will convey it to the third. That's how he conveys. And the third person, fourth person, fifth person, 29th person, conveying it to the 30th person. You know, the person who has told the first person, he goes to the 30th person. And then he would ask that person, what have you heard? Then that person will tell that word. The word will be different. Why that is different, I'll tell. Because one person is actually telling that instruction, but the other person is not hearing correctly. Because he is just watching here and there, doing so many other things, and then hearing. And then the third person, at second step only, it is a failure because he has heard something else, and then he will speak something else to the third person. The third person will hear in a different way. It goes to the fourth person. That means the last person who is telling the words to the first person is totally different. No, is this called as disciplic succession? No, this is not called as disciplic succession. Disciplic succession is what? Disciplic succession is to present the truth as is. That means what Brahmaji has heard from the Lord should be the same instruction what Srila Prabhupada and his followers are telling us. Now, how is that the chain is being established and maintained? This is a question which you need to ask. So, if you actually see every acharya in the disciplic succession, they have divine qualities, not a normal. Ordinary person will not have that. They have divine qualities. What is this divine qualities? They have wonderful Advaishta Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karanevacha Nirmamo Nirahankara Samadukka Sukakshara Santusta Sutatam Yatatma Dridanischa Mayadpita Manobhutir Yome Bhakta Samapriya. All the 26 qualities which the Lord has spoken in the Gita. And then Lord says that whoever has those qualities, they are very dear to me. Now, all these exalted Vaishnava Acharyas, they are epitome for all those qualities. Through that epitome, what happens is the moment they hear the truth from the spiritual master, then what happens? It goes into their consciousness. As they have all these wonderful qualities, whatever they hear, they will reproduce the same thing out. This is exactly what Srila Prabhupada tells actually. Srila Prabhupada tells, I heard this truth from my spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada says, I'm just repeating the words. In the preface also Srila Prabhupada tells about this. He says, if at all, if you want to give me the credit, you should give me the credit because I'm just repeating the words of my spiritual master. This is honesty. This is utmost humility. Even though they are exalted, just see, their position is exalted because they have these divine qualities. Now, how did they receive those divine qualities? Through their desires, through their service attitude, through their acceptance of the process, through their association. All those qualities do manifest. Sri Narottam Das Thakur Maharaj was actually hankering for the association of his spiritual master. I always think about this. Do we ever hanker for that kind of association? Because he was anchoring, because he had that deep relationship with the spiritual master. Because through that deep relationship, whatever he has touched become gold. This is exactly I see in the life of a spiritual master. Exactly. Now, whatever he touches, it becomes gold. Because dear devotees, we should see some examples in our life. I always wonder, unless and until we see an example in one's life, how can I really get the gist that this is how I need to practice Krishna consciousness? Now I think that if I just finish my rounds, if I just follow the regulative principles and then do whatever I want, is that really Krishna conscious? It is not Krishna conscious because the heart is not satisfied. The heart has some inabilities. The heart has some insecurities. But the moment when we really get that correct association in one's life, who's really selfless, who's really surrendered, who's really taken the truth to the core of his heart, who's really not just through the classes, his life is also like that. When we see that kind of person, then the jiva, after millions of lifetimes, he finally feels that, oh, there's a solace for me, there's a shelter for me, and this is a shelter. And if we have a sincere desire, you remember you remember the conversation which we began, that if the child is very sincere, he's using the free will correctly, and then he's desiring something, then the parents are readily to fulfill that. Likewise, we are that child, and we should be very submissive, very process oriented, very structured in our life, and we should be very honest. Through these qualities, when we practice and do our sadhana, and then desire for that right association, then Krishna will give that. Now, most of them might not desire also. Krishna out of love, he gives that association. And that association we should always anchor and take for. When we aspire for this consciousness, dear devotees, you know who is pleased? Krishna and his devotees. They are immensely pleased. Now, how the disciplic succession is coming as is? Because all these personalities have same exact qualities. Qualitatively, qualitatively, they all manifest all of those qualities. As they all have same heart, the truth which they are revealing is also same. It's not different. That is why what Krishna has spoken 5,000 years ago and what Srila Prabhupada and his pure followers are speaking to us are exactly the same. That is why when we really hear from those pure personalities, what happens is heart will transform. I was actually sharing this to my spiritual master. Oh, dear spiritual master. This is so beautiful because if a jiva hears the absolute truth continuously for a span of at least 2 years on a daily basis, we have seen so many examples in our community that so many people's life got transformed, their heart got changed. Why? Because of that oral reception, because of that hearing process, continuously from that person. When we continuously do establish that relationship and then hear through simple acceptance, this personalities are pure. Let me just accept. Let me just be honest to myself. Let me just hear the truth more and more. Then what happens, dear devotees? Then the relationship is established. Then we get the same exact truth which Lord has spoken to Arjuna. That is the epitome of this Bhagavad Gita as it is. That is why Srila Prabhupada said, this is Bhagavad Gita as it is, because these are the exact words the Lord has spoken to Arjuna. Now, how is it Srila Prabhupada would able to understand the heart of Arjuna? Because if you actually we will actually see in chapter 1, the Srila Prabhupada is like literally, we feel that Srila Prabhupada was actually there in Kurukshetra, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, by seeing his purports, by seeing the way how he perceives, how he understands, how he actually explains the truth. Now, how is that happening? Because through the mercy of the Lord, through the mercy of the spiritual master, what happens is they get the full access. They get complete access, just like we'll actually see in chapter 1, just like Sanjaya, by the mercy of his spiritual master, Vyasdev, he was able to see the entire Bhagavad, the picture of the Kurukshetra, battlefield of Kurukshetra in a special vision. He gets that special vision because he's sitting in Hastinapur, but he's able to see what's happening in Kurukshetra. How is that happening? We cannot see, right? We cannot see what's happening in the next door. But how is that? Sanjay is able to see. That is the mercy of his spiritual master. He receives that special mercy. That is why Chakshudan Diloje Janme Janme Prabhu say. Narottam Das Thakur words. It's not like blind. It's not like just those words are there. It's good. No, 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 no. This is a practical actually. Because when the sadhaka realizes that everything is coming through the mercy of the spiritual master, then what happens? He says that Chakshudan Jilaje Janme Janme Prabhu say, he's my master. He's my Janme Janme master. He's Prabhu, life after life. Why? Because he's receiving everything through them. The words are his, the heart is his, the transformation is his, the process of surrender is his, because he tells that. Now we don't know what is surrender is. They tell us. And if we just follow that, then we come to that state. It was so beautiful. Today we had another conversation. The spiritual master was telling very interesting. Lakshmi Sahasra Satasva Samya Sevya Manam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. Brahmaji is telling that the Supreme Lord is millions of Lakshmi Devis are continuously serving him. Now, why am I telling this is, I remember a spiritual master doesn't ask anyone any money, not even rupee. He'll never ask. But whatever service for the projects, the money will come. It comes naturally. The reason he says this, the Lord is the source of everything. And all the Lakshmi Devis are serving him continuously. He doesn't hanker or bother that this has to come, this has to come. No, no, no. Up until this point of time, he will wait. Until that is manifesting. But he will never ask. And he says, there are some devotees who are from different communities, they also hear the truth. And then he says very beautifully to all of them, you serve or you give money to your temple, but you hear the truth from me. And then try to change your consciousness, try to change your heart. You're not here to ask anything. You simply want to present the words of Srila Prabhupada as is. There's no concoction in that. If you want, you keep whatever you want. But you you become honest. One day, at least one day, he says that at least one day you chant with that pure consciousness. He says that when the sadhaka hears continuously again and again, what happens is, we will actually feel that feeling, we will get that feeling, what am I doing? I'm not doing correctly. Is there some problem which I'm. That's why the heart is not responding in the right way or right direction. I'm so absorbed in my life. This giving up this material propensities is becoming very difficult. But unless and until that is being given up, we cannot understand the science of Krishna consciousness. That is also another fact. That means slowly and steadily what we need to do is we need to aspire for that pure devotion. Dear devotee, this is a desire, just like the child is desiring, and then the father fulfilled. If we desire that, why not the father and the spiritual? Why don't they fulfill that? They will fulfill it. They will fulfill that desire. And this is what we need to aspire. Now, this is how the disciplic succession was being established in real devotees. Because all of them are a pure state. They have that utmost relationship with their spiritual master, and what they do, just simply repeat their words. This is how the disciplic succession is maintained. And whoever follows the words of Srila Prabhupada, and especially his followers, when we follow his followers very nicely, attentively, then that truth will change our heart also. For that, we need to be sincere. The only thing which you need to do is we should be very, very sincere. Should very sincerely hear, try to understand, and figure out how to apply the truth and then move forward. If we cannot figure out, we need to ask, Prabhu, how should I do this? What should I do? What's next should I do? Is there any service which I can render? Is through that service, is there a way to establish a relationship? These are the things which we need to anchor, we need to aspire for. If we do not hanker and aspire, at least today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, after 1 month, after 2 months, after 1 year, if that aspiration is not coming, then what happens is the truth will stay, will not go inside the heart. This I'll write it down. For sure. For sure. If one really wants to experience what Krishna consciousness is, one should simply repeat the instructions of the spiritual master as is. No concoctions, no changing. If we are concocting and then if we are changing or if we are speculating, then we cannot understand the truth, we cannot perceive it. If we cannot perceive it, we cannot follow. If we cannot follow, we cannot move forward. So this we should always aspire for. This is a desire which we need to cultivate. We should cultivate this consciousness. So, my dear Lord, I will practice this pure devotion service. I will hear this truth every day and then try to follow, try to do to the best of my ability. No, I cannot do this. I need help. Then what do? We depend. Through the dependency, what is happening? Oh, Krishna. Dear, what is Krishna will say that after millions of lifetimes, he finally is turning towards me. He's depending. He'll jump onto it, jump on it. But before he'll jump onto it, he will give some tests. If you're going through the tests nicely, then the relationship is thickened. That means, for example, a problem comes in our life. Rather than bogging down to the problem, if we understand that this is just coming through my past is very bad. It's just coming through that. If we accept that as is, then when we move forward, then one test is cleared. Then another test will come. Another test, whatever is close for us, that kind of test will also come. For example, if a person is very attached to money. For example, if a person is very attached to opposite sex, test will come on that. That agitation will come. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. If we enjoyed, that means we failed. But rather when we remember our spiritual master and then say, no, no, spiritual master told me I shouldn't do, I'll not engage in that heinous act. When we do not do that, then what happened, dear devotees? Another test passed. Through that passing of the test, dear devotees, I'll tell one thing. When you pass the test, not only you'll just pass the test, but you also get a lot of relief because Lord will give mercy after passing the test. Just like, if you, I remember, in my seventh grade, when I got distinction, my father gave me a Timex watch. It's a black belt, it's a Timex watch. It was there for many years. Oh, why? Why? Because it's a gift. Father will give to the son. Likewise, Krishna is our father. It's not ordinary person. He's our father. Initially is our father. Later on, we will realize what is the real relationship with the Lord. But this is what Srila Prabhupada told us. He's our father. Should just depend on him, he'll give. The moment we depend, the moment we pass the test, he will give. He'll give the result. Through that result, what is happening? The relationship is intensified. And how is this relationship is intense? Oh, yes, my spiritual master told me that the test will come. I'll pass the test, and then after the test, the mercy will come. So he told me everything. So I should appreciate him also because he gave me that. I remember yesterday, the senior Vaishnava, very, these 3 days were very joyful process. Continuously, 24 hours trying to engage in Krishna consciousness. Very beautiful experience. Now the senior Vaishnava is telling, no, he goes to another senior Vaishnava. And then that Vaishnava has actually brought this Prabhu, this Vaishnava, to the association of the spiritual master. And then what happened is that Prabhu is actually expressing gratitude to that Prabhu, telling that, without you, I couldn't get this association. And then through this association, and I'm very happy practicing Krishna consciousness nicely in the platform of surrender. Completely doing everything for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna is a very soothing process. Is really helping me. Is he really helping me to understand what Krishna consciousness? We are not just, and he conveyed this. We are not just blindly telling that, oh, this is a beautiful process. He's sharing his examples of his realizations, his reflections. That when we did this, this is what happened. When we did that, this is what happened. But these are the exchanges we did about it, which we need to aspire in one's life. I remember me also quitting up, giving up this job was a very joyful process. I never felt that, oh, if I leave the job, what's going to happen? No, no, nothing will happen. Krishna will take care, spiritual master will take care, Krishna will take care. Everything is there. We are very joyfully practicing the science of Krishna consciousness. It's not like I lost something. No, no, I gained so much after leaving the job. So, a lot of experiences. Why? Simply following the words of the spiritual master. I'm not doing anything else, just repeating, just following whatever he says. That is what. This is what, if a sadhaka comes to this state, oh, his taking of Krishna consciousness will be totally different. He should have a trainer in his life. And the trainer, he should hear very nicely from the trainer. And when we do that, then the sikshana, the instructions, the training process will become a joyful process. And we don't want all these things in our life. Simply, Prabhupada says, right? Simple living, high thinking will come to that state. We will live simply. Simple living. Our life will be simple. And then what are the thought process? Higher. High thinking. What is high thinking? Doing everything. Doing everything for the pleasure of the acharyas. Because they are the epitome. Because they are devotees. What kind of service is that? It's unimaginable. Just imagine the same truth coming from 5,000 years ago. How much efforts every acharya has kept in their life to withhold the truth, to lead the truth, to make sure that their life is according to the truth. They're actually walking the truth. That means they're completely really want to do it for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of their spiritual master, because they simply want to repeat. Especially Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the moment he received the instruction from Nityananda Prabhu, he was praying profusely to everyone. And then he simply repeated whatever, through the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, simply repeated that as Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's epitome. Now, when we understand, when we hear, when we read, when we read, if we have right attitude, right mentality, that will come to us also. Very joyfully, those qualities will also come. And then the surrender becomes a natural process. Because that thing has to be established. We are here for that only, actually. To really take this truth, as we are not doing this for something else, dear devotees. We really want to do, and we really want to understand this truth like that only. Pure state, just like this Guru Parampara, because this Guru Parampara, the words of these acharyas are very profound. It will cut through our all the anarthas, and then it will go deep into our, and then we feel indebted to them. Always. Just like Arjuna was indebted to the Lord. Krishna was a spiritual master. He was actually submitting to him at that moment. Because the Lord is not taking the position of the Supreme Lord, but rather he's taking the position of the spiritual master, and then he's instructing Arjuna over there. And just after that half an hour is He says that, oh, my dear Lord, whatever you say, I'll repeat it. Whatever you say, I'll do it. This is devotion, dear Lord. Here, if you see, there is no jnana, there is no dhyana, there is no karma. None of those things are there. For example, I'll give an example how karma would work. Now, in the Garuda Puran, it has been said that when one worships mother cow, or when one serves mother cow, all the hairs which fall from her body, now that many sins which person has committed, they are all removed. Now people would go and then rub the body of the mother cow so that their sins are removed. That is not devotion. That is just trying to fulfill or trying to come out of that karmic reactions. Please understand. That is not devotion. Very important. That is on a karma plane. Now, what is devotion? Oh, if I do this, the Lord will be very happy, very joyful. Because what is he doing? He's trying to please Lord's intimate devotees, intimate associate, who is what? Mother. When that is done, when a sadhaka goes and then serves the cow in that mode, then that is something else. That is devotion. Because there is no expectation. Just simply want to do. Just simply wants to make them happy. Having no expectation in that. Simply want to hanker for the relation with mother cow. And remembering the spiritual master because he has given that. Now, when one does that, then what happens? That is called as devotion. And slowly, slowly, when that condenses, when that intensifies, then it becomes pure devotion. Aniyabhilashita shunyam, having no expectation. Simply want to please them. This state of consciousness one should aspire for. That is how this disciplic succession was established. They simply repeated the truth as is. And the repeating of the truth is also through realization. Please understand this. They heard, they accepted, they realized, they applied the truth, accepted, applied the truth, got the realizations, got those reflections, and then they presented. That's how it is as is. Because every person is doing the same thing. The process of acceptance, the process of doing, the process of acknowledging, process of reciprocating, everything is there. That is why Srila Prabhupada gives so much importance to that in introduction. That is the beginning actually of Bhagavad Gita. There is generally nobody will read this introduction. It's very deep actually. Nobody will try to understand. They'll just go. And most of the people will even skip chapter one. What is chapter one? There's nothing here. Well, there's so much here in chapter one. The platform has been established in chapter. They just go to Dehi no Smita De 2.13. Oh, okay. We are not this body, powerful spirit soul. Okay, why Krishna told that we are not this body but a powerful spirit soul? What is the platform for that? What is the reason for that? Why is he establishing that? Why Krishna came to the plane of soul? Why is he speaking about soul? This you should understand. That's why this is called as heart science. We should know the heart of the other person to really understand what Krishna consciousness is. Hare Krishna. When one understands the heart, what happens is that is when the gratitude comes in, kicks in. Because unless and until the heart is not understood, the gratitude will not kick in. If the gratitude kicks in with the right attitude, then this is a sign that the truth is going into our heart. And until that point of time, you should slowly, slowly take this truth and then try to apply them. Application should come. Through application, gratitude comes. Hare Krishna. For example, I'll tell this and then I'll conclude. For example, if a person is an agriculturist, he's not sowing the seeds, but he's just thinking that, oh, I sowed the seeds. Will it work for him? No, he should sow. He should sow the seeds. And then he should depend on rain. He should depend on sunlight. When everything is perfectly arranged, then the seed would grow. It becomes a sampling. Then eventually it becomes a plant. Eventually it becomes a tree. And then it will give fruits. And that is a livelihood for him. This is a process. Should simply apply the same thing in our life. Hare Krishna. I will stop here. Anyone would like to add anything? We'll continue our discussion or reading of introduction again from the next step of reciproc succession, where Srila Prabhupada explains, he conveys about relationship very, very beautifully. Conveys next now, he conveys the relationship and then he takes the example of Arjuna and then he explains it very lovingly. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone would like to add? Otherwise, we will end here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances, all those to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you so very much for the beautiful class, sharing your experiences with your spiritual master, as well as connecting to the discussion. Beautifully explained the mood on one should have when seeing the cow, or any devotional activity. The mood, the consciousness to get most out of it, meaning to be in Krishna consciousness, basically. The mood, and that comes only through submissiveness and surrendership to the speaker, to the spiritual master, and then asking questions and getting them clarified. It's like a family, like a family, as you said in the start, almost I think 1 year ago, like a father. It's like a fatherly relationship. It's not like for this life, not right now, but not just right now, but in if we deeply think through, it's janme janma Prabhu say. It's like life after life and life before life also. That conviction, if we have the relationship daily, then only we'll get is what my observation, Prabhuji. If we have breaks in between, or if we don't listen with full attention, with sincerity and submissiveness, uh, I'm lost, Prabhuji. At least my view of.
Actually, it is with everyone if you are not sincere and submissive. Because Kali Yuga is a very different age. Kali Yuga, if you actually see technically, is a very short time. In short time, one should be very focused because what is happening is in other yugas they already have all these qualities. So that's how they are always in sattva, and then they easily transcend themselves into Shuddha Sattva. And then that's why they could continue the process for 50,000 years. And then they would realize and then they would go back home, back to Godhead. But now Kali Yuga is very short span. In this short span, we need to cultivate the qualities. We need to establish a relationship. We need to be submissive and just follow the words as is. So it will take time. So when that attitude is developed, the sadhaka will relish so much because because Krishna is immensely pleased with those qualities, and and he gives mercy. He puts tests. Even if the test we are sticking to those words, to those qualities, to what acharyas, to what Srila Prabhupada is actually giving us. When we stick to that, then what happens is then it becomes a joyful process. But until that point of time, it will be a struggle. And never leave the process of Shravana because it is a struggle. No, no, no. That's why I always say at the end of the class, if I caused an inconvenience, please excuse me. Because from my side, I should always convey that. Because by knowingly or unknowingly, I might be causing some inconvenience to your hearts, which I don't want to do through the process of hearing. I want to, on the other side, I don't want to compromise on the truth also. Because if the truth is compromised, then everything is compromised. So compromising on the truth should not be happened. And on the other side, the heart should also be safely taken care. So this is what I learned from a spiritual master. It's a beautiful science. It's only we can't understand this science by reading the books, dear devotees. I'll repeat this again. One person cannot understand by just by reading something. A person will only understand by hearing from a realized soul. Should be realized. Then we will understand. So it's very important. That is a key for it. Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to add? Hare Krishna. Thank you. If I caused an inconvenience, please excuse me. Please try to take the truth nicely. If possible, try to hear this again. And if you have some time, put a message, what you have understood. It would be very nice. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Mr. Prabhu, please take over the call.
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. And today you touched upon the wonderful point of having a relationship, and only relationship can bring transformation. So the bhajan today is about Sambandha Gyan, or relationship, written by Srila Prabhupada himself.